This week on The Virtual Boys, evil must be exterminated, but first, it must be found with our review of Metroid Prime. You're listening to the Virtual Boys Podcast, a podcast of four friends dedicated to discussing and analyzing all things Nintendo. You can find us online at virtualboys.xyz, as well as on your social network of choice. Don't forget to subscribe, leave some feedback, and share us with your friends. Oh, and please enjoy the show. It is Tuesday, October 4th. This is episode 35 of the Virtual Boys Podcast. I'm David, recorded to Logbook. Accompanied today with Jordan.
The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
And Skylar.
They called it Operation Baby's Cry because it had the urgency of a baby crying.
And James.
I didn't know Metroid was a girl.
How could you? How could you not?
My favorite character in Smash Bros. Is Metroid. He's a really cool robot.
Does he ever take off his suit?
Why doesn't Metroid ever take his suit off?
I don't get it. I saw him in a bikini once.
Oh, gross.
It was weird. I think they call it a mankini.
You know, you can't really tell because the pixelation was so bad.
Oh, look at them pickles. I meant to say pickles.
Oh, no.
All right, before we get any farther behind, let's just jump right into the games that we are currently playing or have played this week and want to talk about.
We're not going to give an introduction of what this episode is going to be about.
Oh, yeah, I guess we might as well.
Yeah, why are we doing the Metroid, David?
Because we're going to talk about Metroid Prime in a little while. We're going to first run through some of the news that we've gotten this week and some of the games that we're playing. And then we'll talk about Metroid Prime, and it'll be great because we love Metroid Prime if you haven't been listening for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
I've kind of been obsessed with it.
But we figured it's time to give it a full episode. But anyway, let's jump into what we're currently playing. I have been trudging through Pokemon X again. I am finally on the last gym after my hours of grinding to get all of my not perfect Pokemon perfect stats that are not technically perfect because their IVs aren't perfect, but whatever.
Yeah.
I love that game, and I just love all of the random little cutscenes that are actually like full character models, where your character is not itty bitty chibi version of you, but like actual full size.
Yeah, I always.
But there are only like
annoying.
2 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just saw the cutscene either earlier today or yesterday when Xerneas appears after the tree scene, and I think those scenes are so cool.
Yeah.
But we've talked a lot about Pokemon, especially lately. And we'll talk a little bit more about Pokemon in a minute, so I think...
It seems like we're getting pigeonholed with this Nintendo podcast and just 3 different things. Pokemon, Metroid, and Zelda.
Well, that's all Nintendo's really talking about right now. So
That's true.
And sprinkle with Mario.
Yeah, it's a dainty little sprinkle of a Mario app.
Yeah.
And then every now and then a Fire Emblem.
Every now and then.
Yeah, we had like a time where we was just Fire Emblem. And then we were like, no more Fire Emblem. A little bit of Star Fox too. But now we won't.
Yeah,
we don't even talk.
I just beat Fire Emblem again.
Yeah? So you want to start with what your business was?
Well, I'm done with my business.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
All I've been playing is Pokemon.
I beat another round of Fates. And then I also...
Rousing.
Well, yes. And I beat the Metroid Prime 2, thus ending my journey in the Prime series.
Out of order.
3. Yeah, it was like 3, 1, 3, 2.
3, 1, 3, 2.
I had to refresh myself on the third game. But yeah.
Oh, that's why this game is so good.
I was like, man, I really like this game. I like the third one. I think it might be my favorite out of the 3.
I love the third one.
I like
third
the
one's really great.
It's so good. And then I've been starting to play Sonic Boom Fire and Ice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I like it. I got it for $30, and it's the full version too, with like the extra DVD in it and everything. So I couldn't. It's not bad. $10 off, and the game it's way better than those other Sonic Boom games for sure.
Yeah, but the bar is kind of low.
I know, but this game is playable. It's good.
Okay,
so,
it's playable.
It's not only playable, but there are good moments
there you
in the
go.
game too.
Okay.
Because it could be a playable game and still be pretty crappy.
You were talking earlier that you might like it more than Rush, even.
No. It's like a notch under Rush.
Oh, okay.
Like Sonic Rush, particularly Rush Adventure, I like that one a lot more. Because those games are really fast, they're really speedy. You can chain multiple moves together to finish the level quickly. You're supposed to do that. And it's awesome. Which Sonic Boom Fire and Ice took a lot of the criticism from the other games and decided to make the game more like that. So you can technically chain through all the levels in Sonic Boom Fire and Ice, although they do have secrets off to the side. They're not necessary. You don't have to go after them. And you don't really unlock anything too great if you do go after them. So you can still play the game like a traditional Sonic game where you go fast through a level, which is the huge criticism from the last two Boom games.
Yeah.
So it's nice that they're actually listening to fans and actually trying to step up their game and make the game what it's supposed to be instead of like another crappy Sonic game, basically.
Well, that's nice. But I don't have a lot of experience with Sonic, so I wouldn't really...
Well, I mean, that's really good, because Sonic has suffered with some subpar games.
Sonic has his moments, and then they fall off. Like, one of the problems with Sonic is that they keep trying to be experimental with a lot of their stuff, and a lot of the time that just doesn't pan through.
Let's do Sonic God of War, Sonic Unleashed. Like, it doesn't work.
Let's just hope that Sonic 2017 isn't too much of a experiment.
They need to stop naming Sonic after years. Look what happened to those 6.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't technically give it that name. That was a fan name given to it.
Oh, that's
really? It was just Sonic the Hedgehog.
I thought it was on the cover.
No, it's just Sonic the Hedgehog because it's supposed to be a reboot of the entire series.
Ooh. Yeah, so Sonic 06 was the name that people gave it to differentiate it from the older Sonic games.
Well,
so maybe us fans shouldn't call it Sonic 2017. But did they give it a code name? I don't remember.
I don't think they have yet.
So wait, Sonic 17, is that the 3D game? Because there's 2 games coming out next year, right?
Sonic Mania, that's the 2D.
Okay.
Sonic Mania, I believe.
Yeah. That's the 2D one.
And that looks pretty good too, especially if you like the older games.
And the cool thing about that game is Sega hired like a guy that was working in his basement that rebuilt the Sonic engine.
Yeah.
And so they hired that guy to do it. Instead of being Nintendo and shutting down the project and being like, you have to get rid of all of your code, they hired the guy on.
You know who we need to hire for this project? Someone still living in their mother's basement.
Still living in the Genesis days.
We brought him out of the time vault.
Guys, obviously the Genesis is much better than the SNES.
Nintendo is what Genesis isn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Genesis.
That's good. It's good to hear about Sonic Fire and Ice.
Yeah, and
Sonic
they
Boom
also
Fire.
said that they want to keep the Sonic Boom series going as like a side
especially
thing
the TV series, because
the
that
TV
thing
series is pretty funny sometimes.
That thing is making a good amount of money.
Yeah,
what I hear.
It's pretty good. I mean,
like when Sonic is dreaming and he tries to wake up or something and he goes too far out, and it's just the voice actor wearing a Sonic suit taking out the trash. Whoops, too far.
It's like one too many and like dumps the Sonic games in the trash.
Sonic games?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's so funny. And they had the whole scene with like because of the Knuckles glitch in Sonic Boom, and he just like takes off into the sky,
like jumping over
just
and
like
over
jumping
again.
and just flies up into the sky.
And that's good. They're having fun with the TV series, so that's nice.
Yeah, the TV series does not take itself seriously, which is awesome. And I mean, Dr. Eggman's plots aren't really that good in the TV series, but I mean, he's just another
for kids.
comical villain, so it's funny.
Excuse me. Well, great, Skylar. Is that it for your business?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, James or Jordan, who wants to go next?
I can do it.
Okay.
So, I'm still continuing through Twilight Princess Dark Souls Edition.
Why?
3-heart mode on hero mode with Ganondorf amiibo set on. Taking quadruple damage, no recovery hearts. You pretty much just die a lot. You come across certain moments in the game where you realize the game was not designed with this in mind. And you start to just die a few times there.
Yeah.
Like when the Goron punches you off the cliff, you take damage in that cutscene.
You do. Before it was like what, a heart, maybe a quarter?
No, it was a quarter heart because it dealt 2 hearts to me this time.
Yikes.
It's like, I don't remember this game being this hard.
Because it wasn't.
Which was one of the big complaints of the game.
Well, yeah, that's why I was so excited to be able to do this. I haven't played through the HD version. This is my first playthrough of the HD version. I was like, all right, if I'm going to do this, I have to go all in. It's just like from the get-go.
Twilight Princess, Dark Souls HD.
Yes. There you go. So in the last week, I went from the beginning of the Water Temple through to the beginning of the Ice Mansion.
Oh, wow.
So I got through 2 dungeons.
There's one-hit kills in that dungeon.
Oh, there's a lot of one-hit kills. The frog boss is one of the most horrifying bosses I've ever fought. Or not, he was a mini-boss. The frog mini-boss was the most horrifying creatures I've ever fought in all of Zelda because the tadpoles almost one-shot you individually.
Oh my gosh.
And there's like a million of them just swarming you.
Spin attack.
And so I thought, I could just use my bow and just like shoot each one down. Well, it turns out with 3 waves, it takes a total of like 40 arrows, I believe, to get through all of them.
Jeez.
Or no, it's 20 tadpoles per wave, so it's about 60. You can only get through half the tadpoles with your arrows.
Doesn't the mini boss like shake its butt and all the tadpoles go down? Oh my.
And so the frog itself wasn't that troublesome. It was just all his little tadpoles. And then the water boss is a bit of a pain because he just one-shots you. And you have to like stand in that stupid spot trying to hook shot his eye and hope that he doesn't hit you.
That boss is really annoying.
And
the anemone or whatever.
Yeah, the anemone. Yeah. And when he one-shots you, it's even worse.
Well, then he comes out as the giant fish thing.
Right, the giant fish.
That part's easy.
When the when the tentacle grabs you though, and it's just he eats you, whatever. Yeah. Takes all that damage from you. It's annoying.
The next really, really hard part was trying to get the Zora from Hyrule Castle to Kakariko.
Oh man. That's already a hard part to begin with.
Yes, and so I realized I went through it once and died, and I realized, wait, the cart has way more health than I do. I just need to just not care about the cart and just go to the location where the bird is going to drop the bomb and just like shoot the bird and then heal the cart and then move to the next location and just
shoot
like
the bird, heal the cart.
Yeah.
Well,
nice.
I learned in one of my playthroughs of the game that your boomerang will one-hit kill that bird.
Oh,
because the bomb is there, it kind of like picks up the bomb for a second and smashes into the bird and it's dead. So if you had your boomerang equipped, that would help, but you're now a lot farther than that.
So I don't know why, but I swear the HD version doesn't do Z targeting at as long of a range that the normal Twilight Princess did. Because things that are like a moderate distance away that I know in other Zelda games you could lock onto for your bow, you just can't in Twilight Princess, which is a real problem when you're on a horse trying to do archery because like, you move a lot faster towards things.
Get good or something like that. I don't know.
Oh,
3-heart Ganondorf hero mode.
No, I wasn't telling you to get good. I wasn't telling you to get good. I was saying maybe that's Nintendo saying like get good at aiming. I don't know.
Nintendo just calling us all out. He's like, you guys never been able to aim before.
Witness the power of motion control.
And then I got to the desert, which was a lot of fun because the things swimming in the sand one-shot you. And they fly far and fast in their jumps.
So, are you enjoying yourself at this?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. I mean, if you're enjoying yourself, that's fine. If this is just like,
It's exciting walking around Hyrule and all of a sudden you die because a fire arrow hit you in the head.
No.
So this this is what it would be like in real life. Because if I got shot in the head with a fire arrow, I'd be dead.
Yes.
Let's face it.
And I don't think there was the Arbiter's Grounds was pretty fair throughout the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really have any difficulty getting through that. I did get one shot by the Star-Lord, the final boss in that dungeon, because I was leaping from the wall on the spinner at him, and he just shot me at point blank right there. And he just one-shot me.
Thanks, boss.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So I had to go through the whole boss sequence over again.
I had trouble with that boss when I was little. That top boss.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. Getting to the top with him.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. I'm going at the pace of a snail though. Usually I would be done with the game by now. I think I'm clocked in at 14 hours into the game. and I'm only at the ice dungeon, and I know a casual run for Twilight Princess is like 18 hours for me.
Oh, wow.
So I'm definitely not going at the right
to
pace.
match that pace, but that's fine. Long game fun.
Oh, cool.
And you get to say that you completed it on Dark Souls mode. So.
Yeah, on Dark Souls mode. My roommate was the one that said that because when he watched me fight the boss a few times, he was like, "This is like watching someone try and beat Dark Souls."
Oh.
Cool. Okay, well, great. Thanks for sharing. James, what have you been up to?
So all my time has been taken up with Apollo Justice, and I finished the game over the weekend. I think I talked about playing Apollo Justice a little bit last time, but that's when I started, and now I'm done. 2 weeks, that's not bad, I think. I really enjoyed it. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it, because there was a lot of flack going into it. It's not as good as the original trilogy. I would agree with that. I would say, yeah, it's not as good. It's probably, if we want to say a simple way.
Sorry about that.
Goodness, you have all your devices on right now, David.
I'm so sorry.
I think you could say it's the worst Ace Attorney game of those four. I haven't played the fifth or sixth one yet, so I don't know. But I still enjoyed myself. I thought the plot twists were interesting, and some of them I didn't call. Like I had no idea that was going to happen. I like Apollo Justice. Not all the characters are great, but then again, not all the characters are great in Phoenix Wright in the trilogy either. It's really sad to see how much hate the game gets. I went into it only knowing that people dislike the game, but I enjoy it. I guess it just goes to show that sometimes you'll enjoy something a lot when the majority of people hate it. But that happens. I thought Phoenix Wright being the way he was in the game, I was totally fine with. You should play it, get your own opinion. I suggest not looking into what everyone else says. Play it for yourself. See if you really want to continue on with the Ace Attorney series. Play it for yourself, experience it, and then decide if it's good or bad.
Yeah, that's how I felt with Metroid Prime Federation Force.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I actually like that game, but it's getting a ton of hate right now. A lot of unwarranted hate, I feel like, but it's really good.
I mean, sure, it's not Metroid Prime, the trilogy, but it's still a good game.
Yeah, it's still a good game.
Yeah, I mean, if developers are going to spend time on it, it means that at least they like it. So there's got to be someone out there with their same taste. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that's a great...
Not the best thing to say,
reference.
maybe. I don't know. But
someone made the game, so someone must enjoy it.
You have the creator of Metroid coming out and defending this title. And be like, no, come on, guys. It absolutely belongs in the Metroid universe. All this stuff. And everybody's still trying to shut him down and everything. But if the own creator of the game is saying that it's good.
I feel really bad for him. Just
the
way that people treated his project. And he wants to just continue. He wants to continue the story of the Prime series. And they wanted to do a
multiplayer kind of.
Well, they wanted to do an actual Metroid game on the 3DS, but the screen was too small, and so it made it really difficult to try and get things to work.
5x3 or something. Yeah, it's tiny.
It's tiny, and I don't think they got the budget for Prime 4 what he wants, because he probably knows what an HD game requires, and
especially
Nintendo
for a Metroid title.
And Nintendo probably just doesn't understand.
You have people working 80 to 100 hours a week on this Metroid title.
So this was probably what he could get at the time, and he just didn't want Prime to die off. And then people lambasted him, and because
it's not the same.
No.
Yeah, and I guess that was similar with Apollo Justice.
Well, yeah, it's the same thing too. But
it's not Phoenix Wright.
The thing about Federation Force, it's not Sticker Star. It's a good continuation of the series, even if it is kind of like a spin-off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I got cheated because I purchased that game, if that makes sense.
The thing about Federation Force is I think you could definitely call it a spin-off, even though, Sure, it says
It was
Metroid
definitely
Prime.
designed to
It's
be a
designed
spin-off,
as a
though.
spin-off.
Right.
But it is continuing the story of Prime.
right.
He wants to expand on Silex and bring him back
Right.
into
Yeah, which
into
brings
things.
it back to Apollo Justice too, because Apollo Justice is just expanding the Phoenix.
It is definitely the fourth game
World.
in the series. Though.
And then they're bringing that all back together with Ace Attorney 5. The
well,
newest one.
5 and 6.
Or 5
and
and
6
6.
is the,
Yeah.
6 is
6
the newest one. But
yeah.
Apollo Justice is in 5 as well. Yes,
I think
he's
so.
he's in 5 as well. Not as big of a role, or because Phoenix Wright. Anyway, I'm going to play that game next. But anyway, it's just interesting to see people's reactions with that.
Yeah.
And maybe just because I'm a newer fan to the series, perhaps. One last thing I'm going to say, other than playing Owen Dawn, I'm still getting through that game. Highly recommend it. I'm going to play Color Splash that comes out this week. So
Yeah, that's right. That's this week.
Yep.
Wow.
Get ready for my
I
thoughts
keep
on
forgetting
that.
the
Probably
release date
next
for
week.
that game.
I keep forgetting the
7th.
existence of that game until I come to this podcast every week.
I'm a good reminder.
I'm excited to watch you play through it. I want
And
to.
see-
I want to
and see
see
what your
what it's
opinion
like.
is,
Yeah.
That's good.
I hope you enjoy it.
I hope
Yeah.
it's good. I hope all my naysaying is completely wrong.
I mean, from just looking at the gameplay, is not going to be like. I mean, the battle system is not going to be that great. But so far, I've laughed. Like, there's moments I'm just looking at it, I'm just like laughing. So
Well, some of the advertisements have been pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like with have you seen the old timey, like TV commercials
Yeah.
that they had with the
toads,
with
right?
the toads?
yeah, they're
They're
funny.
pretty good.
They're pretty
Toads
good.
are everywhere.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Well, I think once you get over that, I mean, I don't like it, but once I got over that, then it's what it is. What it is. Anyway,
Well,
look forward to that.
all right. And that comes out this Friday. So that's one piece of news. So cool. Other news that we have now that we're done with our business section is we got another Pokemon Sun and Moon.
It's
trailer,
time to
so-
open Bill's PC.
Would you like to withdraw, deposit, or move?
Why is
News.
move not the top option? That is my thought every time
You
I
can
open the
change it
PC.
in Alpha Sapphire. In Alpha
Can
Sapphire,
you?
you can swap them. There's
Why
one
did-
place that you can talk to a lady and you can get it swapped.
Customization.
I know, and I
Hidden
miss it.
customization.
You can't do it in X and Y, but you can
The
do it in
worst
Alpha
kind.
Sapphire.
Oh
and
my
Omega
gosh!
Ruby.
I need to find this.
Yeah, it's like, you know, the area with all of the ash from the volcano. You go to the town, and then you go to the next route right before the cave, and then there's a house right there. You talk to the lady in the house.
Could you imagine if they did Twitch Plays Pokemon again and accidentally put the release Pokemon at the top?
Bye bye, everybody. But anyway, now that Bill's PC is turned on,
My new Ash Greninja's gone.
I'm not upset about
that's
that.
one little bit of the news. But anyway, we got a trailer, and it showed off the evolutions of the starter Pokemon, or partner Pokemon, as they referred to them in the trailer.
Well, now we have an official statement of what they're called because
Yeah.
I don't think in game they've ever officially been called starter Pokemon.
I don't think they have been. I tried looking it up online, and it's just like everyone calls them starter Pokemon, and then they've also got, but in Japanese they call them like.
But the thing is, too,
trio
like
or something.
outside of the video, they did call them starters.
Yeah, like in the video title itself, it says
Yeah.
evolve forms for starter
Pokemon.
like the
So,
official Pokemon video. But anyway,
They're interchanging them.
Yeah,
So
it's whatever.
but
I don't think it matters.
Anyway.
I think what's most important is to look at Rowlett's evolution's hair. Just look at that hair. He's like, I'm so fabulous.
I hate it.
I love it.
But anyway,
I'm mixed.
that evolution's name is Dartrix. It maintains
Dartrix.
its flying grass typing, so there aren't really any changes. Still has the ability to overgrow. We have not seen their hidden abilities yet, if they have them.
Don't touch his hair. He'll be
It
pissed.
will.
Don't touch his
don't
hair.
do it.
Like they
Sorry,
showed
excuse my
you
language.
rubbing it and
kill
cleaning
you.
it, and he was mad
He'll
about
be
it.
upset.
In an elevator.
Then we've got Linden's evolution, which is
You
Toracat.
ruined my perfect hair. I'll kill you in an elevator.
We have Toracat, which is just fire type. I guess they aren't moving
like-
into dark typing yet.
Yeah, but look at his like front.
I think it's going to be fighting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's kind of gotten bulky
he
up there.
Looks like it.
Like,
Yeah.
you better. They should
It's
probably
such a
test him
natural
for
evolution.
performance enhancing drugs or something like that.
That's how he evolved.
Yeah.
And then you've got Brion, which is Poplio's evolution, which is basically Poplio a little bit bigger and wearing a skirt.
I don't know if it's
And it's
because
cute.
I'm used to Poplio now, but Brion seems fine.
Yeah, I like Brion.
I think it still looks dumb.
I think I'm just like desensitized to it now.
You're desensitized to the dumbness.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
a seal wearing like a dress or something. It doesn't
Yeah,
make any sense.
I'm not
So
sure.
what
how
what
you
happens
think
when you have
about
a
it.
male Brion?
I don't know. They kind of did that with
Are you assuming it's gender?
Delphox.
They did that with Delphi.
It has a gender
They did it with Delphox.
next to the name.
Labels do not tell you who I am.
Anyway,
The Brion clearly identifies as male. Whatever.
He identifies himself as a man.
but anyway, Delphox
Metroid's a
was the same
girl!
idea.
Anyway.
Delphox was the same thing. Delphox looked way more feminine than masculine. And then Embor is very, very masculine, and there were females of them
They
that
do
never
that.
changed.
I
So
don't know.
Are there female Mr. Mimes?
I don't. I think
no!
this time is genderless. I'll have to look that up. But anyway,
I think there's only male Mr. Mimes,
do
if
you
I
get-
can remember right. There's
how do
only
you
male
get a
Mr.
mime?
Mime and only female Jinxes, I believe.
Oh, okay, that
I
makes
hope
sense.
so.
well, I'll take a look.
There's male and
but
female
While I'm
Jigglypuff.
looking, it's
That makes
50%
sense.
male, 50% female.
What?
Yeah, that's what it says right here.
Oh,
on
You can get a
Wikipedia.
female Mr. Mime. They don't even change his name
You
to
get a
Mrs.
male
Mime.
Jinx. Think about that.
All right. Well, let's move on. We gotta talk about Metroid still. So, they've revealed a new thing called Festival Plaza, which, as Skylar pointed out, is a lot like the 5th generation
Plaza. Yeah, it looks like it just in a circle instead of a straight line. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
you earn friend coins by helping your friends and doing
Yeah.
other random activities. You can buy stat boosting items and other awesome things.
put them in the fun house to have them boost their stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows if
How do you feel about that?
I hope they keep super training because this is going to make everything so long.
This is for EVs, right?
Yes,
Replacing
EVs.
super training.
Yeah, EVs.
So this
So
and
it
we,
is
so we're going to have
replacing-
hyper training and this then.
Yeah.
Well, there
So-
is one more thing. The
Breeding's dead.
Breeding is that
There's
X and Y,
also
do bring
the
your X and Y.
Pokepelago. The Pokepelago, which
Oh,
is
is
where
that
they can
the-
go in the boxes. But there you can also give your Pokemon drinks and do certain training to also boost their EVs. So there are two ways to do it, as far as we've seen. We haven't
Perhaps
seen
super
evolution-
training. Perhaps super
training.
training is back.
I don't know.
But would they have two systems though?
I think they'll just drop super training for this.
They might.
It just makes more sense.
I just wish they wouldn't because super training was so quick.
Well, wasn't super training required on the second screen anyway?
On the bottom screen.
On the
yeah.
bottom screen and part of the menu. I think they're just getting rid of that menu and we're going to have something completely different for that bottom screen.
They haven't shown anything, have they?
No.
No, they haven't shown us the bottom screen
Yeah.
at all.
Okay. We might not get.
Except
they
for
might get
during
it-
the battles.
I hope
They
we
didn't
might.
show the
I
bottom
hope we
screen
get
at
like.
E3?
Well, they did, but normally you don't get the menu structure until like after a certain event or whatever.
really? Oh.
So it probably is
I
it's
hope
Like
just,
you didn't get the
Yeah.
Pokénav in Alpha Sapphire until later, and you didn't get the whatever the thing was called
Right,
in
so
X
yeah.
and Y.
The
But yeah, anyway.
Poketch and
So-
Diamond Pearl.
That's those two new things. Some big news for competitive, I guess, is Mega Evolutions are definitely back. They showed that the Z-Ring item can also power Mega Evolutions, which is cool and nice.
Hooray for OP.
We did not see any new Mega Evolutions, though, which is really kind of sad.
but I think we'll still get some.
You think so?
I bet we will. That's my thought.
We have another month.
Mega Executor.
Mega
I'm
Alolan
not saying that it
Executor.
couldn't happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't happen. The reason
Yeah.
being because of the Alolan forms. And I think that kind of like all their creativity probably went into creating those as well as the new Pokemon, and we already have a good amount of Mega Evolutions. So perhaps the new Mega Evolutions are going to come in the next remake.
No, they could come in the next remake,
4.
or they could just be downloads. I mean, we're getting Ash Greninja.
True, but that's
Which
an
is-
ability.
Right, but what's going to stop them from just saying, here's our event, I don't know, a random Pokemon.
I mean, yeah, they could have
here's
an
a
event.
Kabutops with a Kabutops site.
or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
they could
do
have
that.
events. Yeah.
Now he has 4 swords.
3 swords
3
style
swords.
Kabutops.
One in his
One in his
mouth. He's wearing like a
Name him
do-rag on
Zorro.
his head.
Perfect.
But
You're
Along with
piercing.
Thousand
My-
Sunny and
my thoughts with the Z-Ring and Mega Evolution is that it looks like the text for when you get it is on a route. So it looks like it's mid-game. So if it is mid-game, that leads me to believe that there are new Mega Evolutions that we just haven't seen yet.
why is that?
Because if it's mid-route, it looks like it takes place on like Route 30 or something. I'm not knowing that number.
Right, but why would mid game mean new Mega?
Well, it could even just be post-game.
What if they just give
Because
you a
they added new
Lucario?
Mega Evolutions in Alpha Sapphire mid-game. Like you got the
Well,
Lucario.
they
or
introduced. That's where they introduced Mega Evolutions. Though.
Yeah.
They introduced it in X and Y, and then they added new evolutions in Alpha
Yeah, like
Sapphire and Omega
Sharpedo
Ruby.
and some
Oh,
others.
okay.
Like
but
all of, like the 3 starters.
I
in
don't.
that game,
I
they
just
didn't
don't
have
see the
Mega Evolutions.
correlation there.
I just feel like if they're going to give it to us in the middle of the game, there's got to be something new with it too. Otherwise, they just unlock it at the end of the game after you've cleared the whole story.
Oh, they would unlock it at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Why not? But why not have Mega Evolutions? You know, when you battle the Elite Four or something like that.
Well,
That'd be
then
useful.
they could totally do that too. But I'm just saying, like, if they're going to introduce it in the middle of the game,
Well, we don't know if it's in the middle of the game. It
gotta be
could still
something.
just be at the end
I
of the
know,
game. Could
but
be post-game
That's
still.
my speculation.
Okay,
I don't know,
I
it's
understand.
not. It's
I
it may or may not.
understand what you're saying.
When you get the Z-Ring.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not when you get the Z-Ring. It's definitely after.
After.
But anyway,
No, I see what you're saying, David.
The reign of Mega Kangaskhan will never end.
yeah,
Yeah,
showed
they even showed it in the trailer. Oh my gosh! They're like, get ready for more Mega Kangaskhan.
Long live the king.
No!
Everybody's in competitors like, well, now I don't need to change my strategy. Kyogre, Rayquaza, Groudon, Mega Kangaskhan.
Well, no, and then you got
Zardias. I'm good.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
What are we
now
gonna
you
do?
got to add
Ash
the Monkey
Greninja.
Guru, right?
Gosh.
They all
Yeah.
Mega Evolve.
Greninja's
without
already in
having
the Uber
stones.
tier. How much more powerful will they make the Ash
Well,
Greninja?
it doesn't have the protein attached to it.
That's true. That's true. But it effectively acts as a mega form. That's another mega form. Basically, you can have your entire team be mega forms plus Xerneas.
Yeah.
Wow!
That'll be ridiculous. But we're talking about Ash Greninja because there's going to be a demo version that's going to be released on the 18th of October. And it comes with a Greninja that has the ability Battle Bond, which I'm not sure how it works yet. I haven't looked into it. But as soon as one of the opposing Pokemon fainted, Ash Greninja changed forms. So I don't know if that has something to do with it or not.
It just seems kind of weird that that's how they would choose it because that wasn't how Ash's Greninja's
Right.
Form
They
triggered.
had to like dance and get insane. I don't know. So
Well, no, he just had to scream.
Say, you killed him. Do it. Greninja was born into
And-
Ash Greninja.
yeah.
Born
so,
from Ash.
I wonder if it's going to come with like
Born from the ashes.
Ash
Born from the
Greninja's
ashes.
terrible moveset that he actually had. Water Shuriken and
I don't know.
Air Slash.
I've never used Water Shuriken on
Oh,
my
yeah,
Greninja.
but-
I wonder if like when you use the ability, it automatically changes your moveset. That would actually fix it if it's like
Yeah.
OP.
It's super powerful, but it also has Ash's terrible training choices.
Air slash. Greninja, use Leer.
You taught your water dark Pokemon Air Slash? Why did you teach it an ice move?
And then he fought against a grass dragon Sceptile.
That's why he did Air Slash.
Yeah,
Ice Beam, though. Times 4 effective. Come on.
We'll get more Sun and Moon news on the 14th, which is
14th?
just 4 days before the demo
demo.
launches.
The demo launches.
We're just gonna have new news
Like
about
every
this
week.
every week until it comes out.
Also,
And then once it comes out, we're gonna have to review the game. And
We're never gonna get out of this.
if you are a Pokemon breeder, keep resetting the game until you get a female Greninja. with
Yes,
that
because you
ability.
do get to keep your Greninja. We don't know if you can keep the other Pokemon you catch in the demo, but
You can keep Greninja.
But you can keep Greninja,
Yeah.
and hopefully you can possibly get a female version so that then you can start doing IV and EV breeding
Yes.
or just IV breeding for
Yeah.
a Nash Greninja.
There you go.
And have a powerful Ash Greninja, if you so choose.
I will
have
not
So
a
does
vote.
this mean we can't get the Ash Greninja off the demo until January though, when it's available to
Well,
Pokemon Bank?
with the Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby demo, you could transfer up your items and your Mega Glalie like immediately as soon as you got the game.
Oh.
There was it was able to communicate with the game. I mean, it probably uses like same
Communicate.
API hooks and stuff like
Right.
Pokemon Bank does with the game.
So you didn't obviously start off with the Mega Gaily in the game, did you?
no, because you don't get the Mega Ring for a while. So you
So
can have
when-
it like chilling in your PC if you
okay.
want, but you can use a
Wow,
Glalie,
so you
but
have like that powerful Pokemon.
but I don't think that
But you
you're
can't really
considered
use
the
it.
original trainer, so it also doesn't obey you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but it also has 1.5 times speed on experience gaining.
that's true. So you can get a level 100 Glalie before you hit the Elite Four. But I think that does it for Bill's PC. Let's shut it off. Alrighty, now it's time to talk about the main topic of the episode, Metroid Prime. What do you guys think about Metroid Prime? Just one sentence, how you feel.
One of the best games ever made.
A game that inspired a generation. I don't know. That was really cheesy.
Disclaimer, I've said this before. A perfect transition from the 2D platformer to a 3D realm.
I think that's probably the best one so far.
Ooh, I like it. Skylar, you got anything?
The game that made Retro stop wanting to make Metroid games.
And that was the third one.
He spent 80 to 100 hours a week working on this game.
Yeah. It was so bad. The studio split at some point because of it. I think it was before Metroid Prime 2.
They had 4 projects in development
Yep.
at one point.
I was just about
and
to say
3
that.
of them closed down
All
just
right.
so everybody
So-
could focus on Metroid
So should
Prime.
we...
We'll go down with a little bit of history about the game. I mean, the game it was released for the GameCube back in 2001, but they started. Retro Studios developed this game, and they started it in 1999 with about 120 employees that were working on 4 different projects, kind of divided up. And it's a really short time to ramp up a project that's due by the end of 2001.
Well, not only that, but the press was pretty against Metroid Prime in its inception because everyone was afraid that Nintendo was just going to turn Metroid into the next Halo. That they were just
yes.
chasing the
I think that's a
golden
legitimate
goose.
fear.
That is a very
That is a
legitimate fear.
legitimate
Yeah. Because Metroid is definitely like one of those puzzle-solving exploration games, not a shoot-'em-up.
And
game.
we hadn't seen Metroid since Super Metroid in 1994. So it had been like 6 years, 7 years, 2001? Yeah, so 7 years since the last
so
Metroid.
long droughts isn't anything new in the Metroid.
True.
kingdom.
And I believe the Metroid 64 project was canceled.
Yeah, it was
And
canned.
so people were really concerned about this game.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to 1999, when they had been coming up with the story, here's a quote from one of the developers. He said, "When Mr. Miyamoto and Mr. Iwata came to our studio for the first time, actually, Mr. Iwata wasn't even president then. He acted as a translator, which was weird, but it was one of the scariest things we've ever done. It was really disheartening because we didn't have anything to show other than some concept art and 3-page design documents. And Nintendo requires you to be able to explain your idea in 3 pages. And people were going in, the RPG team, the football team, and they were saying, he hates everything! So they did not like what Retro had originally come up with, and they had to shift directions with the whole project.
Wow.
So
yeah, there was one point that Miyamoto also envisioned the game in like a third-person kind of perspective, but later they felt like it was more important to go back to the first person, and they felt like it worked better.
Especially since Miyamoto wanted them to try different heads for Samus.
And that comes from
I heard about that.
That comes from Retro's involvement with Jet Force Gemini and Rare. They worked with Rare a little bit on Jet Force Gemini.
Oh, did they?
Uh-huh. And they had some problems with the camera in that game, and they had problems transitioning that same camera into Metroid Prime.
To be fair,
so,
I played Jet Force Gemini, and that camera is still kind of broken.
Yeah, well, that was like their whole thing. So,
That was the problem with it. Great game, but that's definitely the problem.
So then they decided to, bring it first person after those camera issues, and it just worked so much better. But one of the other developers said that Nintendo really wanted them to stay true to the needs of the Metroid fan base and the themes of the franchise. And so, for example, in Metroid Prime 1, there is not one repeated environment. Everything is unique, so it's cool for the fans to explore. And that is absolutely true. You don't go into one room and notice that it looks exactly the same as the others. I mean, sure, some of the hallways and connection areas look very similar, but everything is set up really unique. And that's the style that they were going for. So yeah, that's a little bit of the history. I mean, they had a rough time starting out in development, and I mean, there was a lot of negative criticism. They had to shift gears and all of this crazy stuff. But
I will say that most games tend to have a hard or rough game development period. Most, but it seems like Metroid Prime had one that was a little rougher than most.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, this was also kind of the same way that they treated Rareware. And that's one of the reasons why Rareware was so excited to leave to go to Microsoft, was that they never got holidays at Rareware, and they did 80 to 100-hour weeks every week for like the 10 years that they were working with Nintendo.
Right,
Yeah.
which is actually why Conker's Bad Fur Day has so many bad little things in it. They were really trying to show Nintendo the finger during the development of that game. I mean, they ripped the N64 logo in half with the chainsaw at the very beginning of the game.
Right at the beginning of the game with his chainsaw.
They killed Pikachu in one of the deleted scenes.
Yes.
The Mafia mob boss shoots him or something.
That's so funny.
At Space World 2000, Nintendo showed off 10 seconds of the Metroid Prime footage, and it looked really, really rough. I mean, the images that I found are really, really low resolution images, but I can only imagine like what this would look like to fans. They were probably super ecstatic.
I think they were actually more concerned because it just looks more like Halo.
That's
It's
true.
really dark. It's grim.
And let's be honest, the Metroid fan base can be kind of
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
hard to please sometimes. I would not be surprised if someone went like, "Boo, you stink!"
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why they had such a rigorous schedule, though, is that they were really, really pushing for it to be one of the launch titles for the GameCube.
Which it wasn't one of the
with
launch
the
titles.
N64. One of the big problems with it was that that was the generation they developed the kiddie, like aura or whatever. Like people referred to Nintendo as the more kid-friendly console
Right.
of all of its competitors, and that was kind of a thing during the SNES, but wasn't too much. It was more
Yeah,
of
not
just
too
it was
much.
censored. The games were censored, but you could still get the same games on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Whereas on N64, it started developing this really kid-friendly
There were
atmosphere.
some kid-friendly games at PlayStation, quite a few.
Well, sure, but for the most part, like you look at the Nintendo library versus the PlayStation, and it is designed more towards the kids,
library of PlayStation is
and that's
more
why
expensive,
Conkers was designed to begin with to try and like get rid of that image. And so I think they wanted to start the GameCube off by getting rid of that image, so they threw out Metroid Prime. I think Resident Evil 4 was one of the beginning games.
I think so, yeah.
And then also Eternal Darkness.
And a lot of that N64 vibe came from the fact that Square did not like the N64. They started developing Final Fantasy VII on the console, and then decided there is not enough memory for us to do our awesome movie scenes that we want to do, and the cartridges were a lot smaller.
It was just cheaper to make CD.
It's cheaper to make CDs. They can hold more disk space, and it was easier to develop.
Yeah, but they take longer to load. And
exactly, and that's why the N64 was built the way it was so that load times were negligible. Like, you would barely even notice.
I believe that Zelda Ocarina of Time did prove Square wrong, though.
Yes, I agree.
With the amount of disk space in the cartridges, it's just that at the moment when they wanted to make Final Fantasy VII, it wasn't available. And then on top of that, they increased the cartridge sizes again with Donkey Kong 64 and Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask, yeah.
Yeah. We kind of went off topic there, but...
and Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3.
Yeah. best skating game ever.
You got an expansion pack to play, man. You pay your respects.
But the N64 was definitely the generation that Nintendo distanced themselves from third-party developers.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the GameCube era, Nintendo was starting to embrace Western development a bit more, and that's why they brought in retro. But then they eventually lost Rareware through the fiasco with Microsoft.
Right.
Yeah, but it's still, like, the GameCube, though, has tons of third-party games on it, like, tons of third-party support. Like, Gauntlet, you have all the Tony Hawk series, you have all those games by Sega, you have all, like, the 5 Capcom games that Capcom developed for the GameCube, including Resident Evil and all this other stuff. They had tons of support for the console. And they had Square Enix make specifically designed Final Fantasy games for the GameCube as well in the Crystal Chronicles series.
Right.
So, I mean, they had plenty of support in the GameCube, and they were definitely more embracing of it. It's just when they found out later, like, those games didn't sell as well as the Nintendo games on the platform. That's when people started jumping ship and things like that.
Yeah, because Nintendo fans like to stick to their niche. We're on Nintendo consoles to play Nintendo games. Whenever we find other things that are fun, we sometimes go out and get those. And that's part of the problem with Nintendo getting third-party developers, is that we as fans don't tend to embrace them as much as the third-party developers probably need them to be.
Well, especially if the quality of those Nintendo games is, like, going down in people's eyes, then it makes it really hard to warrant.
Well, yeah, in recent years, the Nintendo sale of quality has definitely been going down a bit.
It's loosened a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, I think that's enough about its development cycle. It was really hard. They had to work crazy hours, and the project took a lot longer than maybe it should have.
I believe they originally wanted it to be on the N64, didn't they?
Well, there was a project. There was a project for the N64.
Ideas for the N64.
There were ideas for the N64.
Well, I mean, they didn't do anything there.
Yeah, it didn't come to light.
I just think it's funny that Metroid Prime was originally designed or thought of to be in third person, then switched to first person. And Ocarina of Time was supposed to be in first person, then switched to third person.
And then you have Other M.
Oh gosh,
which is both.
So therefore, it must be best.
No.
It's third person.
Well, let's talk about the game itself then.
Other M? Sure.
No, not Other M. James, no.
Well, see the baby.
For our thoughts on that game. But anyway, let's do a little review of the game. Let's first talk about gameplay. I think that's a good place to start with our review of how the game works. Does anyone have any particular comments about
So
gameplay?
I have a question. Are we going to
question.
talk specifically about the Wii version or the GameCube version? Because James hasn't ever touched the GameCube version. I don't know if Skylar
Hey.
has.
I played it for like 5 minutes, was terrified, and sold it back to the store.
So
I was so
I
young,
guess-
and it was
Nope,
by
nope,
I
myself
think, I think
in a
it's
dark
fair to
room.
talk about it in both versions. You and I have the experience
Right.
with the GameCube and the Wii, so I don't know.
So should we talk about controls when jumping straight into the gameplay, or should we talk about atmosphere? What do you want to start us off with?
Well, for gameplay, let's start off with controls and how fluid the game feels. Okay, let's start with the Wii version, and then we'll tell you like how much better it is than the GameCube version.
Yes.
Well, I mean, motion control is the way of the future.
I will fight you.
The motion controls worked fine. I have a huge problem with the grappling hook. I can never get that. I can never get to the work. It's probably user error, but
No,
I don't know.
no, it's not.
Anyway, so I also have a problem with the boost ball, and I know that was user error. But
No.
well then.
not.
Thanks, Scott.
I appreciate that.
No, those balls rubbed
But
Prime
the pointing and shooting aspect, I thought it worked really well. To the point where, if they were to make a Metroid Prime 4, I would wonder if they would try to get a motion control based game or controller, or would they incorporate
The Pro controller. That's actually an
Pro
interesting
controller.
idea. I haven't thought about that because the Wii controls actually worked pretty well
They
for
worked
the
exceptionally
trilogy. Yeah, exceptionally
it,
well.
It worked well. There
But-
was like some buttons, like for example, when you had to press like the D-pad
For the missiles.
The missiles. I had
For
a
all the
problem with
Wii
that,
games, Metroid Prime Trilogy probably works the best with controls.
I think that's a
That's a
fair
fair
assessment.
statement.
Yeah.
That,
You could probably have people
Galaxy,
who would-
maybe.
Galaxy's up there,
Galaxy
yeah.
is definitely up there.
But
Yeah.
Galaxy only used motion controls for spinning and for
is
collecting
fine.
star bits, so it wasn't as needed, I guess you could say.
Well,
some
as
of the games.
used.
Yeah.
Probably.
But anyway, what were you saying, James?
Oh no, I mean, what was I saying? I think I was just talking about.
It would be interesting because a lot of hardcore gamers might want it to be on the Pro controller instead than the Wiimote. Also, the Wiimote's kind of dying. Like,
Well, the Wii
when's
was dying.
Ninte-
It would
when-
have to be a different kind of controller. A different.
When's
perhaps
Nintendo
a
going to
detachable.
discontinue the Wiimotes?
NX? I don't know. We don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
No
Yeah.
idea.
I imagine it still will have motion controls in some way, though. It's hot.
I hope
mean,
not.
Perhaps they'll let go of the whole thing.
I wish just Nintendo would stop focusing so heavily on them.
I don't think it's going to be focused on it. But anyway, so I'm at the point where I do wonder what it would feel like with a joy moving around with the control stick, aiming instead of pointing and clicking. But control wise, I think this works really well.
Did you have any other thoughts on top of that, Skylar?
No, I
With
think
the
it's
Wii?
solid. I think they as I just played all 3 of the games, and it's nice to see the progression of the controls getting better across the series. Like in the original Prime game, the grappling hook is extremely frustrating to use most of the time. You have to be directly looking at it. Even then, sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it'll work even if you're not looking at it. So I have no idea how the grappling hook works or how it picks
The
things up.
grappling hook.
And then the boost ball is a little bit harder to judge. You have to be a lot more precise with the timing. It's less forgiving on how you boost up walls and things like that. Which it works definitely better than the grappling hook, though. I'll just say that. My biggest complaint with the gameplay is that the doors don't just stay blue.
Oh yes, yes.
After you shoot them, you have to constantly be switching your beams or whatever to get
Yeah.
through doors and all that stuff.
Yeah, which is a nice thing they did in Prime 3 when they merged the beams. And it
I
would
think
work
it's
like that,
easier to switch between beams, though, in the Wii version.
Yeah, I mean, it could be.
It's fine. Just fine.
I think it's fine. Obviously, it's not as easy as just flicking a direction on the C-stick.
I guess
on
that's
the
true.
GameCube.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the same time, that was such a weird use of the C-stick on the GameCube. I mean,
Yeah.
transitioning into the GameCube controls. I mean, I played through a Metroid Prime 1, then Metroid Prime 2. I went back to Metroid Prime 1 again on the GameCube. Then I moved to 3, and then I got the trilogy and played through all of them a few times. But starting with the GameCube one, like I was forced to master the boost ball timing and the grapple hook. So because of my experience with the GameCube game, I was able to like figure out the timing and how it kind of works. It still is really finicky for sure.
Super finicky.
And it definitely was really finicky on the GameCube version.
Oh yeah.
Especially since for whatever reason they decided you can only free aim while you're holding down the L button.
Which was dumb. It was really dumb.
You lock on with the R button. It was really dumb.
It was really, really difficult to aim in that game. In the Wii version, you can just like walk around and casually be like, "Oh, let's look in like that top corner of the screen." No, it's not like that in the GameCube version.
In the GameCube one, you have to like stop moving and look around, and then you have to lock your view as you like strafe around that point, and then you got to move around. It was ridiculous.
It was a nightmare.
It's still a really great game.
Oh yeah,
but it's definitely.
I don't understand why, especially with Halo being out at that time. Or I guess Halo came out after they started development, so maybe it's not a fair assessment. I guess the only games they had for reference at that point was games on the N64 like 007.
Yeah, and they didn't have multiple sticks to deal with, so
right.
I don't know, but
I just wish that they used the second stick.
Yeah, it was really annoying. But that's controls. They work. They were frustrating in the original version, but you would make them work after hours of trial and error.
It was also annoying that it wasn't the L button to shoot as the trigger.
I don't know. I liked the A button because you could mash the A button on the GameCube controller, like take your hand off the controller and mash it, and the beam would fire just as fast as you were mashing the A button.
You could mash the trigger too.
You could, but I don't know. It's harder to mash the trigger with my index finger for whatever reason. But anyway. Sorry,
so besides the controls and other minor differences, there really isn't that much of a difference between Wii and GameCube.
They changed a little bit of the lore with the
that's
pirates.
What I'm saying.
Minor
details.
There really isn't much of a change.
One of the big complaints is that the art on the different beams on the Wii version kind of feels off because the gun wasn't designed to move in the direction that the Wii version allows it, and so it makes all the effects on the gun look really flat.
Yeah, they do kind of. They look a little bit out of place.
They look like flat textures unless the beam is in a specific angle, kind of. Or maybe they had to make it more flat so that it didn't look ridiculous as it was moving around.
Maybe.
Who knows?
When you get into the actual like gameplay of the game though, like the game's it's just amazing. I'm at a loss of words.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
As soon as you get out and you come out of your ship, and then it just does the music from classic Super Metroid, and
the music is
original
so
Metroid
good.
It goes straight into her visor, and you can see around, and you have like effects of the rain on your visor.
The atmosphere is amazing.
Like at the time, like it was just mind blowing, just how the graphic capability of this game at the time was just insane.
It's interesting that you brought up the music because most of the music was actually made in Japan, and they like brought it over to like the American
I think
studio.
The composer's name is Kenji Yamamoto, if I remember correctly. It wasn't done by.
Well, no, it's not Kondo.
It's not Kondo for sure.
But they also got an American, Tommy Tallarico, who did the video games lives to make the sound effects for the gun and stuff like that.
Yeah, the composer is Kenji Yamamoto with Koichi Kyuma working on it as well.
But yeah, so they were in heavy correspondence with Japan on the music aspect of the game. So like a lot of the atmosphere and a lot of the sound effects, and they said in an interview that they wanted to harken back to Super Metroid in their soundtrack, which brings up your point, which they did a very good job of bringing that kind of Super Metroid feel from the 2D to the 3D with this new layer of synth and MIDI and music to the atmosphere of Metroid, which is really cool.
Yeah, the sound effects are really great. I mean, they're so great that they use the Shriek Bat sound effect in all 3 games.
Yeah.
They are Shriek Bats still.
Yeah, they're still Shriek Bats, even though they're on different planets. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I love
Hey,
the music.
I scan them. They all say Shriek Bat. So
The music, it puts you right there.
It is Metroid
so
music.
yeah, solid.
Vendrana Drift's music is amazing. I don't know. That's
It's
one of
how-
my favorite areas.
It's how Metroid should sound in a modern game.
Yeah,
They nail
I
it.
It's a
agree.
natural evolution.
It's a natural
I think
illusion.
I think the next step is, well, I don't know. What is the next step? You can't do
Not
orchestrated.
MIDI files. Make
Not
it
MIDI, yeah.
orchestrated.
You can't do orchestrated.
Good luck.
Yeah, I guess
I mean, you
can't
could do
really.
some of the sounds orchestrated, but
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
some,
the thing
but would that fit though? An
The thing is, the
orchestrated
sound design's limitless. You can take even like live recorded sounds and you can alter them to make them sound completely different. Like if you take a bowstring on a bass,
So perhaps-
and
so then-
bring that sound in, and then alter it, put some like reverb or a compression EQ on the bowstring to have this kind of like zoom effect. It's like there's plenty of ways you can do it, and it doesn't have to be necessarily instrument based.
Okay, so you can have then next step would be live sounds, but you alter it a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually be surprised if they did that for Prime, because it's sound design. You can take whatever sound you want and you can alter it. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they actually did that with
yeah,
Prime.
like if some of the sound libraries were generated from actual
from
instruments,
live audio,
yeah.
not necessarily instruments, but also like percussion, like random
Yeah, yeah.
equipment, or like if they have a sound, like hit it on metal, and then they can just alter that. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
So the music's beautiful. Sound design is great. We talked about the
Yeah.
controls. Graphically, Jordan mentioned that it looks really good. There are
for its time, yeah.
there are graphical improvements into the trilogy version. They added more particle effects in the air to do some things. I think they reworked some of the textures to make them clearer, but I don't know the actual specifics on that.
If there's
between the
one thing for
versions.
sure, Metroid Prime would not run on the PS2. It was definitely
Yeah.
proving the power capability of the GameCube.
Definitely.
Wow.
GameCube was like the highest caliber.
Well, the
Those
Xbox
three.
was insane, but
Yeah,
it was
eventually.
at the cost of it being like 4 times the size of the GameCube. So.
Yeah.
This is like 4 GameCubes.
There was
got
a
taped together.
huge. It wasn't quite 4 times the GameCube. That's the problem, right? That's American engineering, I suppose. We get really lazy with our designs, and we want raw power, but we don't optimize, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah, Nintendo's really good at optimizing their systems. But
Squeezing the most out of it.
yeah, I think that's a good point. It would not have run on the PlayStation 2. No. So, what about the story? There isn't a lot of a story.
You have to
Some
look
could
for
argue. Yeah, you have to look for
You
it.
have to search for it. That's how a Metroid story should be told.
But Metroid is more of an atmospheric
Right.
story.
You learn the story through your environment.
Exactly. And I think they still nail that, like, flat. Like, you don't.
Oh, I think they really nailed it.
Even
with
if you
Metroid Prime.
ignored all the lore, like, just don't scan anything, you still get a sense of loneliness, and like you still understand that the Chosen are all dead, especially when the ghost starts showing up.
Right.
The pirates are having problems on this planet or whatever, and like you still
This
get
phase-on thing is doing stuff.
you still get the Metroid atmosphere, which
Yeah.
I think is kind of lost in the third Prime.
Really?
It's a fantastic game, but they definitely changed narrative with Prime 3 so that it's not following the general atmospheric sense that
Yeah,
the other
I
Primes
think
had.
that is a fair point to say, especially since they throw you in different worlds.
Yeah.
Where like you're not just confined to one world that you have to explore. I mean, 3 is still a great game. The narrative is really great because
Yeah.
they have the characters helping you along.
And they
but-
do try to achieve that atmosphere in each planet. At least it wasn't Other M. Other M didn't even attempt at that.
shove the story down your
Well-
throat. I'm just kidding.
So let me say this,
All right.
and then we can move on to another topic. So with future Metroid games, would you be upset, or do you think they can make a story-driven Metroid game? I understand Other M did not do it well, but could they do it
I think it's possible.
and make it good?
I think it's possible to make it good. I think Other M, though, left some really sour taste in everyone's mouth.
True.
So it's going to be hard to
maybe-
convince the fans without them being outraged immediately.
I think Prime 3 was like the perfect amount of story.
Because did you play Prime 3 or see Prime 3 at all?
I haven't
Prime
played
3 Prime 3 covered cinematics.
I've seen a little bit of the voice acting.
See,
but
like it is there. The plot is there, and they do tell you about it, but it's not throughout the entire game. The good majority of the game is you still learning it from the environment.
Well, even Prime 2 has cutscenes and
I've seen
cinematics like that. So it can be done in Prime. It can be done in Metroid. Other M just took it way too far.
right, and I agree with that.
And Other M doesn't let you scan anything.
Well,
And,
you
learn
scan,
about it.
So
but not,
I
you don't learn about it.
This is a missile tank.
I have a love-hate relationship with scanning in Metroid Prime.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's nice. It's nice to be able to get all the lore and all that stuff, but I think they overdo some of the things that you should be scanning. Oh, what's this? It's a crate.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
I personally feel like they shouldn't put a percentage on what you scan.
No, and they shouldn't make it so some of this stuff to get 100% doesn't go away. Like you should always be able to scan it at all times.
Map station, right, James?
That's
My perfect record.
that's
I'll shoot you in an elevator.
That's the hard thing about some of
really
these
kill a
games
game,
is
can you?
some developers like forget that some people playing the game like actually look at the percentage of their completion, especially when it says it while you're going through it,
Well,
or like
doesn't
you
it-
can look through.
It
all
gives
of
you an
the
extra
lores.
cutscene if you get it all.
Yeah, you get the Metroid
wanted
Prime
it.
reaching out with the fusion suit hand.
Yeah.
I
at the
wanted
end,
it
with the eyeball.
I only got Samus taking off her helmet, or was it her whole thing? It was just-
Yeah, helmet.
Yeah, she just takes off her helmet and looks down.
Yeah, you didn't get to see
Kinda-
Dark Samus.
Almost gets to cry. And,
But I did get to see her face.
which is such.
If
an
you don't do
awesome
enough,
thing.
you don't even see her face.
I didn't even
so-
do that. I just
so-
I'm going to go through this game real fast, like. And it's just like
I
right
don't know
through it.
how many years it took me to realize that Dark Samus was Metroid Prime.
Really?
Because I was playing, because I never 100%ed that first game on the GameCube,
Ah.
and so I was like, "What's going on?" And I get to Metroid Prime 2, and I'm like, "Oh, there's an evil
And
Samus."
the internet wasn't really that big.
no,
at the
it
time.
wasn't. So I
No.
had no clue. And then, of course, I finally 100%.
When you scan it, it doesn't
I
tell
don't know.
you.
No, it doesn't tell you. In Prime 2, it doesn't tell you that it's Metroid
I
Prime.
mean, the internet was around, but we didn't have like
it's just like
YouTube.
DNA
Right.
test confirmed.
I
Dark
think the
Samus.
only thing that would ever show you that it is Dark Samus would be the face of Dark Samus underneath the mask or whatever when you do scan it, because it's the same face that Metroid Prime has.
Yeah.
in the
That's
first
true.
game.
But
That's
anyway.
the only way I think you know if you didn't 100%.
Spoiler alert: Dark Samus is Metroid Prime.
I don't think that's really like a spoiler alert anymore.
I don't know. I don't know what people get triggered on the weirdest things. I'll just say that. Even I'd get triggered. I'm triggered. I'm just kidding. I like the scanning and the lore of Metroid Prime. Coming into Metroid Prime is my first game. Not my first Metroid game, but anyway, it was really interesting. Frustrating when I didn't scan the map, but it is what it is. So, what I want to say about Metroid Prime is how I liked the bosses and how a lot of them were really epic and kind of, how do I do this? Not like I don't know what to do, but oh my goodness, how am I going to beat this? I'm such an insignificant little thing, you know?
We're gonna beat this giant pile of rocks.
Yeah. The rocks was the one that was a little underwhelming, because it was just a bunch of rocks and they're just all together.
It's a small
Oh, the
part
one
of
that's really difficult is the Mega Metroid, or the
Mega Pirate?
The Mega Pirate.
Yes.
Oh,
He
I
was
mean
so
the fat
fun.
guy that falls on you and you steal the suit from?
Yeah.
you like rip it off him as you go up.
But I love the plant one in the beginning. I really do. Like, because that was so scary. Anyway, but Omega Pirate's really good too.
I liked all the bosses.
The bosses are great.
And of course, Skylar, you know that the bug from the first boss, the very first boss.
Yeah.
What's its name? I keep forgetting. It's
Queen. What's it?
Parasite?
Yeah, Parasite Queen.
Yeah, Parasite Queen.
The plant
Everyone
one?
knows that she had the bug on the frigate Orphean
frigate
before
Orphean.
it crashes, before you lose all of your suit. Before
That's
you're-
the first boss?
That's the first boss.
On the frigate Orphean.
It counts as a boss. The HP appears on the screen, and it's after you explore. The
Wait.
frigate.
Parasite Queen.
Wait.
Parasite Queen.
They made a
the
stage out of it in
circular
Super
thing that's
Smash
spinning
Brothers.
around.
The shield that's spinning around, you have to shoot.
Ah, I
I
remember that now.
That music is so good.
Huh.
It gets you into that game.
Oh, yeah.
I swear.
I totally forgot
you're
about
into
that.
that game like as soon as you enter
Well,
the
if
friggin'
you
Orphean.
weren't into
That's
that
true.
game yet, and you hit that
If you
button,
weren't in the game,
you are definitely into that game now.
Like Metroid Prime just pulls you in.
Yeah, it did a really good job.
like,
It
you
did
will
a
never
really good
leave.
But I want to.
I
want to finish the game.
Planet.
Let's see. Are we missing any categories to discuss about this game? I think we've covered just about everything, huh?
Any complaints?
Any complaints? I mean, I think we talked about a couple. You had complaints about the boost ball and the
Oh,
grapple hook, but that,
more
that
about
we
the
talked
grapple
about.
Those doors.
Yeah, the door load times on the GameCube were a lot worse than on the Wii
No. Load times aside, I just want to shoot the door with one beam.
Yeah, can
Yeah.
I just
don't
say
have to worry
that
about it.
I actually like, and I think it does in Other M, where once you get a beam, you don't have to switch between the beams.
Yeah, they do that in Other End, but they do that in Prime. They do that every single Metroid game except Prime 1 and Prime 2.
version. Yep.
Yeah, I really.
Is that okay?
And
Is
I
that okay for
think
me
that
to
is
want
a
that?
great thing. It's great to want that, but for me, I love switching beams.
To be
I don't
fair,
know
though,
why.
Prime 2 is a lot worse in that regard than Prime 1
Yes.
because that you have
Ammo.
a limited you have ammo.
Yeah.
But I love
Why?
being able to kill enemies in different ways.
Well, no, that's fine. We're not talking about
I
getting
know,
rid
I
of the
know, I
ability
know.
to move between
I'm not
beams,
talking- yeah,
but
I
just
just
to
wanna
open a
shoot the
door.
Open the doors. Yes.
Like
Oh,
once you
oh.
shoot the
Well,
color
shoot the
on
door.
the door,
That's
just
fine.
keep it blue.
Well, the door that I actually brought a different point, and
Right,
that was
right, merging
and
the
that's what you were
beams,
talking
yeah.
about is merging the beams so that
Nah.
once you get one, you don't have to like switch between. them.
Merging's fine. I just want to be able to just to shoot the door and it open without having to toggle through a menu.
I still like switching between beams.
I do too.
But-
That's probably because
Suits-
we started with Prime 1. I mean, not
Maybe.
as first Metroid, but I don't know.
I played a
was
lot
just-
of 2D Metroid before I played the Prime games, and that was the nicest thing.
See,
was being able to
I
just
started
get
with
through
the Prime
door.
games, and then I got back into the other.
I
Metroid
started in
games.
Super Metroid. I had
would.
Metroid, the original Metroid. I had no idea what was going on.
How do I Metroid?
You can go into a ball.
I have to start by going left.
Yeah, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, it must be Japan when they drive on the left side of the road.
I've only been playing Super Mario Brothers up to this point. How do you do?
right.
Right? Yeah, that was like one of the biggest things. Like I have to start by going left. That is so
Yeah.
backwards in my mind. It was crazy.
It's a great game.
Yeah,
The
One of my
Metroid
favorites.
series is great.
There was a long period of time, it might still be, but on Metacritic, it was on the top 10 list.
still is.
It still is?
Still is.
Still is up there.
Let me take a look.
That is a long time to hold that record.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like 99 something or whatever on Metacritic. It's still up there.
It's a great game, and it's not even nostalgia. Nostalgia blinders anything. I really don't think so. I mean, I just played it.
Yeah, I just played.
And I still think it's a
I
great
just played
game.
through the whole series. And I think
Were
they're
there?
all.
I mean, were
solid.
there frustrating moments? I mean, you can have a good game with frustrating moments.
No game is perfect.
Yeah, but I think the grappling hook is just. I honestly think that's like really my only complaint.
So
Actually, it's number 15.
it slipped down.
It's 97 out of 100 points. Ocarina of Time is 99 out of 100 and is the only one that has that score.
Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 are the other two Nintendo games in the top 10.
Really?
Okay, hang
They
on.
deserve it.
Mario 64.
But it's including
those
all
Galaxy?
three versions
No, but
of Grand Theft
about,
Auto 4.
What about Mario 64?
Oh, that's true. So
What?
if you were to make Grand Theft Auto 4 just one game,
Whoops, I'm breaking it.
are there any other duplicates? Because Metroid Prime still isn't in the top 10 if you do that.
And why?
Grand Theft Auto's all throughout this.
Okay,
Holy
so yeah,
crap.
there are four.
Grand
There are
Theft Auto.
5.
Wait
of
a
them.
minute. I don't touch Metacritic then.
Yeah, I don't know. There are
Grand
5
Theft Auto is a
Grand
good
Theft
game,
Autos.
but it's
If
not
you
the
were,
best
if you were
game.
to,
in the
if you were to
world.
combine the
Like-
Grand
It
Theft Auto
does
5s
sell.
and Grand Theft
It
Auto
does
4s,
sell.
It beats Pokemon.
It would be number 10.
it'd be number 10.
It would be number 10 if you combined the Grand Theft Autos 5 and 4. So yes, it is still in the top 10 technically.
I think that's the article I was reading. It's still in the top 10. So
Why would you combine the Grand Theft Autos?
Because it's the PlayStation version, the Xbox version, the
Oh
PC
my
version.
gosh.
Yeah, each one apparently gets its own individual score.
Maybe they changed Metacritic over the years, and that's why.
That might be why. Yeah.
Yeah, because Prime is still up there, and it's also the highest selling out of the Metroid series. There's not another Metroid game that's
Yep.
reached that that had
Yeah.
that many units.
Well,
sold.
it made, I believe, if I remember correctly, I remember reading an article about it back when it came out. But within the first week or maybe month, it already made all of its development costs back, plus $64 million in profit.
Wow.
That's really
Nintendo.
impressive. Well, we know Metacritic gave it a 97 out of 100. What would you guys rate the game, just to finish it up?
This is one of my few 10 out of 10s.
I agree.
wow.
I don't give that score out very.
No.
I probably give it out too much. Just kidding. No, I think it does deserve a 10 out of 10.
I give it a
for me.
9.5.
9.5? Okay.
I don't have nostalgia
I-
to carry me
honest-
on this one.
Yeah, honestly, I can't really think of anything that bothered me besides the not being able to scan the map or the grappling hook. So I'd have to give it a 10 out of 10 as well. I really would.
It's just one of the games that I can just sit down and know
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy it the whole time.
Yeah, I mean,
It
doesn't matter what
I don't
year
have
it
like
is.
a point where I'm just like, oh, I gotta do that kind of thing, you know.
There might be one part like that for me, but then it's just like I just have to walk all the way across the map or something. But it's still a great, fantastic
Yeah, maybe that's
game.
because I've only played it once though. So
I will say that once you have 100% logbook scans, the game is a lot more enjoyable. Because you're not looking for scans, you're just
but
looking for the
I
items.
already enjoy it. So
Well, I mean, it's fun to read through them, but when you've played through the games several times, not having to scan everything because it's already recorded in the trilogy version, it just makes it a nice fluid game to play through.
that's nice.
Because then you're not sitting there for while it's like loading on the bottom to scan doors and stuff. But anyway,
Gotcha.
it's a wonderful game. Any final thoughts before we wrap things up for tonight?
Oh, should be it.
I need to play the second one.
You might want to start with the third one. The second one might turn you off.
I think David and I are the only two people who finished Prime 2.
Yeah. It's a lot more difficult, and
Joy.
I will say they made some of the puzzles easier in the trilogy version. I learned that they actually changed up one of the grapple hook puzzles in the Dark World. It used to zigzag across a straight line, and now it's just straight back and forth. And the Boost Ball Guardian.
yes.
is
Boost Ball
a
Guardian.
million
The
times
Guardian still
easier.
killed me.
It'll still kill
Well, it
you.
still kills you.
But it won't kill you 7 times in a row.
It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I quit after Boost Ball Guardian when I was a kid.
Oh, I quit.
I remember the first time I played it, I had to stop playing for a little while too after Boost
It
Ball.
was nuts.
Wow, you guys are really
I
reassuring.
don't understand how
Really
that got past
encouraging
their
me.
QA.
To me,
Department.
I just feel like the bosses in Prime 2 they're not balanced well.
No, they're not.
Oh,
That's just me.
It's still great. I love Prime
a great
2.
game.
It's
Yeah.
good. You definitely need to play it.
I will. I have a few other like Color Splash and Pokemon
Yeah.
Sun.
It's
Mood.
not going anywhere anytime soon. We're not.
But
gonna have
I'm
a Prime-
going somewhere
Sometime soon.
sometime soon to that big place in the sky.
But yeah, I think people just overhype the hardness of Prime 2, in my
Yeah.
opinion. It's not as hard as people make it out to be. It's not
Yeah.
like the be-all, end-all of
But
Metroid.
you didn't
but-
play it on hyper mode.
Or on GameCube.
On the GameCube, yeah. I was like, or on the GameCube.
But even the Prime 2, like the trilogy version, everybody's like, "Oh, this game is so hard, so scary."
Yeah,
I have noticed that.
They oversay
I have
that.
noticed
It's
that.
like,
I probably oversay that.
it's not that bad. I just beat through the whole thing, and it's like it's really not.
I still just have terrors of it from the GameCube days on when I was a kid.
Well, you need to overcome those fears. I did. I sold back Metroid Prime 1. And I got rid of Prime 3, and that was the most linear of all.
You got rid of Prime 3?
Yeah, so then I bought the trilogy. And then I was like, I need to man up, and I'm just going to play these.
I kept Prime 3 solely because I wanted to listen to the opening menu theme.
It's so great.
Yeah, music.
I sometimes put the disc in just to listen to it.
Those music soundtracks in that game is just
They're
so
great.
good.
That's why I have them all.
Yeah,
those are music genius.
definitely recommend picking up the trilogy. We've already said that a billion times before, but pick it up. Play Metroid Prime for
$20
yourself.
on Wii U.
It's
It's
amazing.
on the eShop even.
Yeah,
right.
$20 Wii U eShop.
It's beautiful. Well, I guess that wraps it up for this week's episode of the Virtual Boys podcast. Again, I've been David, accompanied with
Jordan.
And Skylar.
And James.
and we are the Virtual Boys. Don't forget to check us out online at virtualboys.xyz and check out our Facebook and Twitter pages. We are happy to listen to your comments and your feedback. Leave us a review on iTunes if you get the chance. And I guess that does it. So we'll catch you next week. We'll see ya.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Hey, look at me! Goodbye, you good people!
See you next mission.